Morning, guys. This is it. It's race day. Just walking to the subway now in Times Square, and then we'll be back in Times Square shortly after on our way through the race course. Excited.
Oh, say can you give it up for Buffalo in the house, Bronx in the house, Blue Dodging, great to have you guys, Team Wepa.
Let's go, y'all, let's go!
Team coming in, way to go.
I don't even know that we have a superhero on the course. Looks like I had a Cassandra, Lindsay,
Jennifer, Roberto,
Marky Mark. The Green Running Club.
The bib fell off. All right, everyone. So for the United Airlines New York City Half Marathon 2022, it's officially a wrap. Here's the medal that we got this year. Not too bad. The first time, I think, ever that I've seen, at least, they put the finish time and name thing on the back in what seems like kind of like a material that I think you can write on in marker, because they were not doing metal engraving this year. Usually they have that as an option, so it was like an actual metal finish, but there's kind of a white textured finish there. And for the first time I've ever seen, it's a Velcro strap, so a little bit different this time around, but not a bad medal. There's a lot of stuff that I want to go over in my head, so I'm just going to try and piece through it. And let's just start with the overall pace and kind of how the race started and how it finished and everything in between. So I definitely went out a little bit quick. I think some of you noticed who were maybe tracking me, because I know there's some notes on Strava and comments that people left. You know, thank you. I can see all of them. And some of you said it. Yes, I went out fast. And part of the problem, honestly, I think was the GPS just was a little bit spotty. And honestly, I felt pretty good. I'm glad that I adjusted the Hal Higdon plan that I was using to include a 2-week taper, because I felt very fresh out there today. And, you know, maybe that was actually part of the downfall, was I just went a little too quickly up front. And, you know, in doing that, the hills at the end of the race definitely caught up to me just a little bit. So the only split that I know for sure is mile 1. I hit it at, I think, 8:34 or 8:35 from when I crossed the starting line. So that was right at my goal pace. But mile 1 was entirely uphill. I don't think there's a single downhill portion in mile 1. So not the best sign. I wanted to be conservative in the beginning in the hills, and I think I missed just a little bit there. So it was a little bit of bad execution for what I wanted to do in my head. As we continue through, you know, I'll put the paces up in just a second, and what I'll do is I'll just show you kind of the New York Roadrunners app splits, which are like every 3 miles or so, and I'll pull it up for myself here as well. So the first 3.1 miles came in at 8:36, which again is just a little bit over what my overall go pace was. But again, it's the hilliest section of the course, in my opinion, and I went through those hills pretty quickly. The next 3.1 miles, I actually went fast at 8:31, and I'm pretty sure that 3.1 miles includes the Manhattan Bridge, which was a big uphill and really a brutal effort. I mean, it's a tough hill. It's just like if you've done the New York City Marathon, all the other bridges you go over. It really is exhausting to go up over that bridge. I thought I dropped back enough in pace, but I think overall that section probably did me in just a little bit as well. And, you know, wore me out. So I didn't have as much left in the tank when I got through like Times Square into Central Park. The third 3.1 miles that brought us to 9.3 at 8:36. So that's like the FDR up through the UN, pretty flat in that section, and seems like I was pretty okay and spot on there. And then the last 3.1, which is to the 12.4 mile mark, I was at about 9:01 per mile. Now, the thing that you can't see just based on the splits is a little bit of what happened. So within the first mile or so, I noticed that I had torn through this pin that was on my racing singlet. And by the probably like 7th mile, I then also sweated through this pin. So by mile 9, my bib kept kind of falling down like this, and I was afraid I was going to lose it. And I kept trying to, like, it was basically sticking to my sweat. It was a little warmer than I hoped for today, honestly. So I kept like sticking it back up, but it kept falling down. I actually lost. You can see this is one of the timing tags as you go through the different splits on the course. One of them completely fell off. So I'm lucky that one stayed on, or I would have lost like the actual official finish and timing throughout the course. So I was sweating a lot. It finally broke through a third pin, and I actually had to stop in Times Square and try and pin back like into this spot here. I tried to repin it just into the paper. So I was actually stopped for probably about a minute and 15 seconds that I lost at that time. And eventually it kind of ripped through here completely. And I literally just held the bib in my hand for the remaining like 3 miles or so from Times Square to the finish line. So with that mishap, you know, that's why I think overall those 3 miles dropped down to a 9:01. It's about 30 seconds off per mile total. So a minute and 30 seconds that I lost in that little time span there. Some of it, again, probably a minute of it is due to what I had happen with the bib and just having to try and use my sweaty hands to close a pin again. And then the other maybe, 30 seconds that I had lost time-wise just came from, a little bit too fast in the beginning and then slowing down towards the end. So, overall, I probably would have just about hit the overall goal time that I wanted if I didn't have the mishap with the bib, but I would have done the race the way I didn't really want to do it. I would have had a positive split. I would have gone too quick in the beginning and then lost my pace at the end. Maybe I could have held on to still hit that 1:52:30 that I kind of set out as a goal pace, but it just didn't happen with the bib mishap as well. So lots of things to, kind of take away and bring into the next race. It's been a while since I raced a half marathon, so I think I misunderstood how well I felt in the beginning and forgot, how long a half marathon really is, and it just caught up to me a little bit at the end. So I'm not disappointed with the, overall time, which was the 1:53:46. About a minute and 16 seconds over my goal pace, and again lost about a minute, I'd say, in Times Square just pinning my bib alone. And the rest was pretty good, just a little bit of a positive split, a little too fast in the beginning, slowed me down at the end. You can see between 12.4 and then the finish line I had an 8:47 pace, so it's definitely a little bit slow even just in that last push to the finish line that was less than a mile. So one more look at the pace chart, just a different view that's available in the app. You can see here in that one split section, it just dropped. And again, that's where I had to pin my bib. I think the chart would have looked something like this. If I had, not had the bib issue, I probably would have held on and it would have been a small decrease and gradual decrease in pace as I just lost energy, but I still would have kind of been a flatter line. There wouldn't have been that weird dip that just comes from stopping completely on the course. And, overall, I know how much I slowed down in the end, like I really felt it. So at some point, even seeing the numbers on the screen, I know that I must have been going much, much faster than I should have in the beginning, because to slow down as much as I felt like I slowed down at the end and just struggled through some of those last hills in Central Park and still have been just a minute and 16 seconds off the goal time, with the bib issue, there's some other part of that race where I was going very, very fast and made up that time, but just, did it too early and zapped all my energy. So, lesson learned, not too bad overall. Again, not disappointed considering everything that happened. And it was just a warm day. I mean, it was warm and humid. I really, truly sweat through a lot of my clothes, so I don't think that helped. But nonetheless, right around where we should be, all things considered, a pretty good day out there. So just thank you again for everyone who is commenting on Strava, liking things on Instagram, commenting on my YouTube channel. I finally ran into Carl out there in the corrals before the race for this morning. I ran into somebody else who I know watches, who just said some nice things to me while we were on the course, but I didn't catch your name. So thanks everybody in general. Good to run into some people. And like I said, that's a wrap for the New York City Half this year. So hope you enjoyed this little, race vlog and overall breakdown. I hope you've enjoyed kind of the training going into it. We'll do it again for the New York Roadrunners Brooklyn Half and then into Chicago Marathon in the fall. So thanks everybody. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next video.